A lot of marketing advice sounds helpful, but actually makes things worse. Because if you've ever tried to follow different marketing tips, you've probably noticed something. One person tells you to post every day. Another says focus on quality over quantity. Someone says run ads. Someone else says don't touch ads until you've built organically. And after a while, you're left thinking, what am I actually supposed to do? And if you've ever felt like that, you're not alone. Because the problem usually isn't you, it's how that advice is being applied. So in this video, I want to help you make sense of that so you can stop second guessing and start making better decisions with your marketing. Hey, I'm Stephen, and on this channel, I break down marketing in a simple and practical way so you can stop guessing and start building marketing that actually works. Because once you understand the fundamentals, a lot of marketing suddenly becomes much easier to navigate. One of the hardest parts of marketing today is that there's no shortage of advice. In fact, there's probably too much of it. You've got YouTube videos, LinkedIn posts, TikToks, courses, threads, podcasts. Everyone's sharing what works. And a lot of that advice sounds good. In isolation, most of it actually makes sense. And that's what makes it so convincing. But when you try to apply it, that's when things start to feel messy. Because you don't just hear one idea, you hear lots of ideas, often at the same time. And they don't always line up. Post more, post less, focus on organic, run ads, niche down, stay broad. And the more you try to follow all of that, the harder it becomes to know what to actually do. So instead of feeling clearer, you start second guessing yourself. You start wondering, am I doing the right thing? Should I be doing something else? Am I missing something? And over time, marketing starts to feel more confusing than it should. And if that sounds familiar, what's one piece of marketing advice you've heard recently that's just confused you? Why don't you drop it in the comments, because the chances are someone else is trying to figure out the exact same thing. The real issue isn't that marketing advice is wrong, it's that most marketing advice is missing context, because advice is usually based on a specific business, a specific audience, a specific stage, a specific goal. And when you remove that context, the advice can easily be applied in the wrong way, which is where things start to go wrong. And the interesting part is, once you start seeing how this plays out in real situations, it becomes much easier to spot what's actually worth paying attention to. Take a really common example. Post every day. You'll hear this all the time. And on the surface, it sounds like good advice. Because if you post more, you increase your chances of being seen. You increase your chances of learning what works, and you start building momentum. So for someone who's just starting out, that advice can actually be really helpful because it forces consistency, it forces action, it gets you out of overthinking. But here's where it starts to go wrong. Let's say you're a small business owner. You're already busy, you've got customers to serve, you've got a business to run, and now you're trying to post every day on top of that. So what happens? You start rushing content. You start posting for the sake of it. You start thinking, I just need to get something out today. And over time, the quality drops, the clarity drops, and the content starts to feel disconnected. So instead of helping your marketing, it just adds more noise and more pressure. So the advice wasn't wrong, it just wasn't right for your situation. Another one you'll hear a lot, just run ads. And it makes sense because ads can work. They can get you in front of more people, they can drive more traffic, they can generate leads. So again, the advice sounds logical. But here's where context matters. If you already have a product that people want, a message that resonates, a clear understanding of your audience, ads can amplify that. They can help you grow faster. But if you don't have those things in place, ads don't solve the problem. They expose it. They take something that isn't working and show it to more people, which is why a lot of people run ads and think, this doesn't work, when actually the issue wasn't the ads, it was what the ads were pointing to. And that's a really important distinction to make. And if that's something you're wrestling with, I've got another video on the channel called Running Ads Too Early is Ruining Your Marketing, where I break down why ads don't fix weak marketing, they expose it. And if you want help working out whether you're actually ready for paid ads, I've also created an Are You Ready for Paid Ads workbook that walks you through the key things to check before you spend money. I'll link both in the description and comments below, because for a lot of businesses, that's the real issue. It's not that ads are bad, it's that they're being used before the foundations are in place. Then there's the advice, you need to pick a niche. And again, there's truth in that. Because when you're clear about who you help, it's much easier for people to understand what you do. It makes your message sharper. It makes your marketing more focused. But here's where people get stuck. They hear that advice and feel like they need to get it perfect straight away. So they sit there thinking, who exactly is my niche? What if I pick the wrong one? What if I limit myself too much? Instead of moving forward, they freeze. Or they choose something too narrow before they've really tested what works. So again, the advice isn't wrong, but applying it too early or too rigidly can actually slow you down. And once you start seeing this pattern, something important clicks. Because the issue isn't that the advice is bad, it's that it's being taken out of context. Most marketing advice is based on a specific situation, a specific business, at a specific stage, trying to achieve a specific outcome. And when you remove that context, the advice becomes easy to misapply. So instead of helping, it creates confusion. And this is where the shift happens, because marketing stops being about, is this right or wrong, and starts becoming about, when is this advice right? Because most advice works in the right situation, at the right time, for the right business. And once you start thinking like that, everything becomes a lot clearer. Because you're no longer trying to follow everything, you're trying to understand what actually fits your situation. So instead of asking, should I be doing this? A better way to think about it is, who is this advice actually for? What stage are they at? What are they trying to achieve? And does that match with where I am right now? Because when those things line up, advice becomes useful, and when they don't, it becomes confusing, which is exactly why I've made videos on things like why posting content isn't a marketing strategy and why your marketing isn't working. Because once those foundations are clear, a lot of marketing advice starts to make much more sense. And this is why a lot of people feel like they're doing something wrong. They're trying things, they're putting in effort, they're following advice that sounds logical, but it's not producing the results they expected. And that's frustrating, because from the outside, it looks like you're doing the right things. You're showing up, you're taking action, you're trying to improve, and yet nothing really changes. So naturally, you start questioning yourself. Maybe I'm not doing this properly. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I'm just not good at marketing. But most of the time, that's not the issue. You haven't been doing the wrong things, you've just been applying the wrong advice at the wrong time. And that's a very different problem, because that's something that you can fix. Marketing advice isn't the problem. Misapplied marketing advice is. Once you understand that, everything starts to feel a lot simpler. Because instead of chasing every new idea, you start making decisions based on what actually fits your situation. So if you've ever felt like marketing is confusing or like nothing seems to work consistently, don't assume you're the problem. Take a step back, look at the advice you've been following and ask, was this designed for someone in my position? Because when you start asking that question, you stop chasing everything and start building something that actually works for you. If this helped make things a bit clearer, why don't you let me know in the comments what you're currently working on with your marketing? And if you found this useful, consider liking and subscribing to the channel, because I share practical marketing advice like this every Monday and Thursday to help you get better results without the guesswork. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one.